Hey, Doobert cheers. Welcome back to the show. I'm excited to have my very good friend, Sarah Swanty, on today. An interesting fact about Sarah, she started her organization ripe old age of 25. She and her friend both contributed $600 to lease out a space and take in 17 homeless cats. And from there, it's been quite a ride and quite a story. So, Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Chris. Glad to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here. So tell us who you are and tell us about Animal Friends.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Sarah Swanty and I live in Colorado, northern Colorado, actually. And 20 years ago, I was one of the founders of my organization, which is Animal Friends Alliance. And Animal Friends Alliance has a shelter in Fort Collins, Colorado. We do about 4,500 adoptions of dogs and cats per year. And then we also offer a lot of what we call community pet resources. So a huge part of our focus and our passion is actually keeping pets with the families who love them so that they don't go into the shelter. So we offer spay neuter, pet food pantry, community cat program, and more. And all together, we help about 18,000 animals a year, dogs and cats. Yeah.
That's quite a big number, right? Oftentimes people don't have that readily available in count, right? So 4,500 or whatever animals intake, but 18,000 animals that you're affecting in a positive way every year.
Yes. Yeah. And I think a lot of times people get hung up on the sheltering and adoptions part of what organizations in our industry do, right? And yet it's so important, all the other work that is happening that's preventing animals from going into the shelter in the first place. So always remind people that, we're not just helping this group of homeless animals, we're also helping 13,000 other animals and trying to keep them from ending up in a shelter.
Yeah, and that's so important. I mean, I think you've seen a lot of changes in the last 20 years that you've been doing this, and shelters are really morphing into these I'll call them a community resource center for lack of a better word, right? But they're not just a place for homeless animals, as you said. I mean, there's so many other things that you guys are doing to positively impact your community.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell us about what is the community like for animals in Fort Collins, sir? Like, I have no idea. What is it like?
Yeah, it's really good, honestly. I think we're so fortunate to be in the state of Colorado, in northern Colorado. Colorado is definitely one of the states that has the best protections for animals, both companion and otherwise. So it's a good place to be if you are a companion animal in Colorado, for sure. When I started in animal welfare 20 years ago, it wasn't as nice. So we did definitely have a pretty significant pet overpopulation problem 20 years ago, but we're in the fortunate position now that, especially Animal Friends Alliance, we transfer a lot of our animals in from other states. So states that are still really struggling with, the numbers of puppies and kittens that are pouring into their shelter especially during those warm months. And so we feel incredibly fortunate to be in a position where we can help other communities that are struggling to have a positive outcome for all of the animals that are coming into their shelters, because we have such a great culture here in northern Colorado of pets really our family, and people spay and neuter and vaccinate and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And people know that you have these programs that they can refer to you or come to you, right, when they're falling on hard times. Because right now, economy's not looking good, right? Gas prices are up. I mean, things are hard.
Yeah, definitely. No, we're really well known in our community for being an organization where families can turn to when they have some challenge that is maybe making them consider having to give their pets up.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, yeah. And some of our, like one of our newer programs that we have is dog behavior services. And certainly sometimes people are reaching out to us because they are considering surrendering their dog due to a challenging behavior. But also sometimes it's just people trying to get ahead of that, right? Like they've heard that we are offering these really affordable dog behavior services. And so they're reaching out to us sometimes for basic stuff with their puppies. They want to get off on the right foot. So it is really cool to see all the change that's happened in our community and these transitions happening to where we're being proactive, right? Instead of reactive as it relates to animal issues.
Yeah, and what I really like in what you said, Sarah, is it seems like you guys you're morphing, you're pivoting to support the needs, right? So 20 years ago, you weren't offering, not with cats likely, right, behavior services, but now
Right.
it's like you recognize there's a need. More people are calling. And so you go, well, look, we can help with that. And so you develop a program to keep the animals out of the shelter in the first place.
Yeah, and I say that's probably my favorite thing about Animal Friends Alliance. It's always been something that I have felt very, very proud about is we're always looking at the reason that animals are ending up in shelters, and those reasons do change and flex over time. And as an organization, we all put our heads together and we're constantly thinking about what's next and what can we do to meet the need and what could we have done to keep this animal in a home, right? And how do we need to evolve over time to be as effective as possible and keep families together, basically.
Yeah. No, obviously we know about the human animal bond, and we know the best place for any of these animals is in a home, is not in a shelter, right? Unless they medically, behaviorally need to be there, they should be in a foster home or a forever home. So,
Right.
So Sarah, let's jump in our time machine and let's go back 20 years, right? You and a friend, I mean, walk us through, like, what was going on? What gave you the idea to say, I'm going to take some money out of my savings account, you do the same, and let's start our own organization.
Yeah, well, I think like so many people in our industry, I've always loved animals. I was the kid who always brought the stray animal home. When I went to friends' houses, I wanted to play with their pets the whole time, right? My dog was my best friend growing up, and so for me, I wanted to be a veterinarian because everyone said, you love animals so much and you're so good with animals. You've got to be a veterinarian. And I think that is what we hear, us young animal lovers, is be a veterinarian. And I was good at science. And so that was what I pursued. And I was, fortunate to live in Colorado. Colorado State University has one of the best veterinary schools in the country. So I got my bachelor's degree at CSU with the intent to go on to vet school. And during all of this, starting at the age of 17, I started working in veterinary hospitals. So I was also getting this experience, and the veterinary hospitals I happened to work in served a clientele where, their philosophy about pets was very much my philosophy about pets. Pets are family. We provide for them, we plan for them when they're sick. We go to the vet, we have the resources to take care of their veterinary needs. And so I grew up in this community and was working in this community with animals and had no idea that we had all these homeless animals in our community. And so ultimately what ended up happening is my sister ran across this organization on the internet that was an animal welfare organization that at the time was serving mostly large animals and dogs, and said, hey, check out this organization. It looks really cool. Maybe it's a place you'd want to volunteer at. And I was like, wow, that does look really cool. And so I started volunteering, and Chris, it was like a total shock to me as this huge animal lover that had been working in veterinary hospitals for all this year to find out how many animals died in shelters every year. Like that there were all these homeless animals and nobody wanted them, and there was nowhere for them to go, and like puppies and kittens and perfectly behaved social animals were being euthanized. I mean, it was unbelievable to me, and I thought, why is this happening? Like, there's no way I'm the only person who can be this upset about this. And do people know this is happening? I don't understand. Right. It was just crazy. And so I became like obsessed with the organization and volunteering. And I was still working full time as a veterinary technician. And I was spending all my free time just obsessing about this problem. And I was starting to wake up in the middle of the night and bake dog treats and take them to the vet clinic I worked at and have them on the counter for donations, right? Anything to get a few bucks. I was making these poster boards of adoptable animals and hanging them in the lobby at the vet clinic I worked at. I was asking if in our little cattery boarding facility, if I could start to have an adoptable cat in there. Like, it was all I thought about all the time. And ultimately what ended up happening is the organization I was volunteering for had started taking cats in. And if you're a cat person, not anyone can just take care of cats, right? There are some people who they don't get cats. And that was kind of what was going on here. So it wasn't going very well, and I was helping as much as I could while working full time. But they did ultimately decide, I can't take care of these cats, and I think I'm just going to have to take them to, the the local humane society. Well, at the time, the euthanasia rate was 60% in our local shelter. And I was like, over my dead body, are these cats going to the local shelter? Like these cats I've been helping to take care of. And so I kid you not, it was like over Taco Bell burritos on a lunch break one day that I somehow managed to convince my good friend and coworker, Anna Neubauer, to take these 17 cats and start a cat rescue. I mean, I was 25. She's maybe 27. And I had no business experience. I had no nonprofit experience other than this volunteering I had done. But I was like, I'm going to do something about this, damn it. And so, we each took $600 out of our personal savings account. We rented this teeny tiny 400 square foot unit in a building that we now own, the entire 8,000 square foot building.
Wow.
And that was the start of our organization. And it was like we both continued working full time. Like, obviously, no one can quit their job and survive off running a cat rescue. That's not going to happen.
Now we had the weirdest open.
Right. We had like the weirdest hours ever. It was like, we're open for adoptions at like Thursdays from 4 to 6 and Sundays from 11 to 1 because we both had jobs and everything else. But what we realized very, very quickly, because as the word got out that there was this new nonprofit cat rescue, we were overwhelmed with people wanting to surrender cats and kittens to us, totally overwhelmed. And so very quickly we realized, because people would bring us litters of kittens and we'd be like, look, you've got to get the parent cats fixed. And they'd say, we can't afford it. Like, there's just no way, we can't afford it. And we were like, we're not making a difference. We're not. We're just another space where people are bringing homeless animals and we're not actually making a difference. And so within a year of starting our nonprofit organization, the Cat Rescue, we opened the first low-cost spay neuter clinic in northern Colorado.
Wow.
That is when we started making a difference. Yeah.
What a smart pivot though, because you realize you're literally just treading water or bailing out the boat, like whatever analogy you want to pick.
Yeah. We were just pulling the babies out of the river, right?
Yeah. The kids are just going to keep coming and coming and coming until you do something. So then you said, okay, we're not making money on this. We're already working 7 days a week. Let's start a spay and neuter clinic.
Yep. And that is what enabled us to quit our jobs as veterinary technicians and say, we are going to focus entirely on what we are trying to do here. It was terrifying to do that, to walk away from like a stable source of income and kind of, risk a lot of things on the success of this nonprofit organization. But what we did realize is, we weren't the only people who felt really upset about how many animals were not making it out of shelters, right? Like, yes, we had a lot of people reaching out to us wanting to surrender, but we also had a lot of people reaching out to us wanting to help.
Yeah, I think you don't really realize until you start having those dialogues and you start saying, well, let's go do this, and everybody else is supportive. So, I mean, it sounds like you had other people along the way that were supplementing your lack of knowledge and business experience and probably giving you some guidance and suggestions on what to do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So we continued to grow off of those programs. It was the teeny tiny little shelter and adding a foster program, opening the spay neuter clinic. Then we started offering vaccine clinics. Then we started a community cat program. We started a pet food pantry. And then we had a big merger. So the organization I founded was called Fort Collins Cat Rescue and Spay Neuter Clinic, and we merged with Animal House Rescue, which was a dog rescue in our community that also had a facility. That was in 2020. We became Animal Friends Alliance. Then we added dog behavior services. We added end-of-life humane euthanasia services, and this year we will actually open another public veterinary clinic with expanded veterinary services.
All of this in 20 years.
Yeah. We've been really busy. Yeah.
I was going to say, it really just, I mean, the fact that you just, what I love about this is you kept going, right? Like you realized and you said, okay, so the only way we're going to stop this is open a spay and neuter clinic. Didn't mean you shut down the rescue portion of what you had. It just meant in addition. And then, like you said, you let that go for a little while and then you started expanding services. So you weren't trying to do everything all at once. You were laser focused on cats. Mm-hmm. And then until you had an opportunity in 2020, And then you expanded the mission to say, look, we can do cats and dogs. So now we're big enough. We have the resources and the capacity.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
You didn't, so many organizations, I feel like they get over their skis because they try to be everything to everyone in their community, and it just doesn't normally work.
And it's so hard not to do that when you care so much about something. And I know that's why so many people trying to do our work burn out, right? Because it's so hard to say no. And it's so hard to not grow too quickly because you want to help. You don't want to leave any animal behind. And that's been a challenge for me. And in some ways, it's good that as our organization has grown and I have more people on my team, they do help keep me in check a little bit, right? To where keeping this balance of growing the organization, but not at a speed that where we can't sustain it. That's been really important over the years for sure. And now I tell people, shoot for the moon, but like do it in baby steps.
Yeah, be smart about it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I mean, over the years, I've encountered rescues where they were literally funding it out of their own pockets. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. I appreciate that you're trying to be helpful, but that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Perhaps you may want to go work with another organization or do something. It's a very delicate situation sometimes because so many people get in, if we call it a business, or get into this industry with very good intentions and they really want to help. And then, as you know better than me, some of them end up in situations that are just over their skis and they don't know what to do. And then it becomes a bigger problem. So, Sarah, how have you grown this along the way? Like, I mean, with your staff, I mean, this is such a compassion-filled business, sometimes very draining. And I'm just curious how your leadership style, as you've pivoted your mission and then started to grow and hire people, I mean, how has that changed and how do you motivate your team?
There's a lot of things I've learned over 20 years. I didn't start out as a good leader. I started out with a lot of passion. I care about people, and there's some component of that you need to have, I think, to be a good leader. You've got to care about people, and I think you can't just care about the animals, right? So I do truly, truly care about the other people who are involved in the organization, in the industry. But I think for me, one of the biggest learnings that I had as a leader and that I share when I have the opportunity is learning that you can't be the best at everything. Maybe you won't even be the best at anything, honestly. And it makes you a better leader to bring in the people and include the people who are better at things than you are. Because I think when we're young and we want to look really good and we want to be great at everything and everything kind of feels a little bit like a competition, you are threatened by people who are better at things than you are. And if you want to be a good leader, you have to completely flip that around and you have to see people for their strengths and their skills and recognize you are so much better at that than me. I really want you on my team because it elevates the entire organization and you're going to be able to make a bigger impact. So that was one of the big learnings for me. I'm a little bit of a control freak. I know
I've never seen.
Shocking. That's another thing that over time I've had to let go of. You have to learn to trust other people. You have to let some things go and let others do some of the work and carry the load and really be part of it. So that's been a really good thing for me. And I mean, when I started this organization, I worked all the time. There were no work-life boundaries. I have 3 kids. My oldest now is 15. When I had him, I took a day off. I had an emergency C-section.
Okay.
Yeah, an emergency C-section, and I got discharged from the hospital and on the way home picked up a pile of work with my newborn baby. So that's not healthy.
No, don't do this, people.
Don't do this. I would not still be doing this work if that was still my balance, right? My work-life balance. I would be so far gone, done. There's no way. And so over time, I have had to learn what really is the priority and again, who's better at this than me and let them do that and learn to to delegate and bring people onto the team. So now I have awesome work-life balance. Truly, I'm not just saying that. I get done at the end of the day, and I don't get my work chats or emails popping up on my phone. Like, I'm done unless one of my staff directors calls me on my personal cell phone, then I know it's probably important and I'm going to answer. And they're great too about respecting boundaries. And so I can have a job I'm passionate about and I love. And if I have a week where I have to work 60 hours, I'm okay with that, right? Because I know it's not going to be like that every week. And then I can also have time to spend with my kids and doing other things I love. So that's important.
Yeah, it's truly important. I mean, it sounds like you've learned a lot about yourself along the way. So I'm curious if we hop back on our time machine and I take you back 20 years and I say, all right, Sarah, here's younger Sarah. You got 30 minutes with her. What advice would you give her?
No one's ever asked me that question before.
It's hard to talk to yourself and say, because you know you, right? And
Yeah.
what do you tell her?
I mean, I guess I would say don't give up, right? Like you're following your passion and that's the right track. Maybe some of these learnings that took me a while, I would say, trust other people, let other people help and let other people be great at things and bring their skills in. Yeah.
Try not to be
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Don't try to control everything.
Right. So I say, when you really start thinking about it, if you could talk to your younger self and sometimes listen, but you, right? And you know what would motivate you and help you and advice that you would listen.
I think maybe a couple of the other things too would like learn how to say no. Like take care of yourself too, right? Like you matter, learn how to say no and stop worrying so much about what other people think. I spent a lot of my young years worrying about what other people thought about me or how I was doing things, and I think that can get in the way for sure.
Yeah, it's easy to see now, but it's hard when we're living it, right? Like that's just what you do. But I think that's really good advice is to just, focus internally first. Focus on you. Don't worry what everybody else thinks because that's their problem, not yours.
Totally. And that is a hard thing. I mean, that's still a practice for me. And I still sometimes at the end of the day, I go, will I be able to sleep with the decisions that I made today? Can I sleep tonight with the decisions that I made today? And I'll kind of go through my day and I'll be like, yeah, everything I did was with the best intention, out of compassion and kindness, and sometimes having to set boundaries, which is okay. But yeah, no, I can sleep tonight.
I like that. No, it's a really good way.
And sometimes you go, maybe actually I don't really feel great about how I handled that situation. Maybe I owe someone an apology. So sometimes that happens too. And that's a good exercise to put yourself through.
Yeah, it is because you're being honest with yourself, right? Like that's not how I want to come across. That's not how I want people to see me. That's not me, right? Because we all do. We have bad days. You're tired. You're frustrated. There's so many things that contribute.
Your ego gets in the way.
Yeah. Been known to happen once or twice with me, not often.
Yeah, right.
So Sarah, as we start to come to the end of our show, I always like to end with a series of lightning round questions. So lots of questions just so we can learn a little bit more about you as a person.
Okay.
Okay? Ready? Now you're scared, I can tell.
I'm not nervous at all.
All right, good. You have to pick one. Do you prefer kitten purrs or puppy broth?
Oh, I can't pick one. I have to? I cannot.
You like them equally, huh?
I love them both. Everybody thought I was like a hardcore cat person because I started a cat rescue, but I love them both so much. I'm just an animal person.
Got it. All right. We'll let that one go. So another easy one. Are you an early bird or a late night owl?
Early bird.
Okay. Up with the crack of dawn and sleep bed by 10 kind of a thing. Got it. Yep.
Oh, yes.
That's me. If you had to describe your staff in one word, what word?
Passionate.
Ooh, I like that. That's a really good choice. Okay. I know you have pets, so if your pets got together and they wrote a Yelp review about you as a pet parent, how many stars do you think you'd get?
Wait, what's the range?
1 to 5 scale.
My dogs would definitely give me a 5. They just think I'm the greatest.
Okay.
My cats might go like 4.5. I think that they think maybe I should give them more treats than I currently do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't
Maybe I should be home more.
That's fair. I mean, they're pretty savvy, right? They know what's going on.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And then finally, Sarah, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh my gosh. I want this organization to continue to succeed like way, way, way beyond my days.
That's a good legacy. That's a
Yeah.
nice, simple legacy, right? Like you've worked so hard for 20 years on this, and from you and a friend having coffee and
Taco Bell, not coffee.
Taco Bell. Sorry, it was Taco Bell.
Burritos, Chris.
They were burritos. That's right. But look at how far you've come, and what an amazing accomplishment for you, for the animals, for the community. So thank you for coming on, Sarah. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you, honestly, for everything you do for animals. I think
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. This was really fun. I got a little weepy.
glad I could make you tear up every now and then.
Yes, thank you.